So it is my 9-year Xanniversary today, and I thought I'd make another update video since I seem to get a lot of feedback from people on these. And before I go any further, I just want to shout out to all the benzo warriors and the people that are just struggling coming off of prescribed medications. I know this journey can be really difficult and a hell of a ride, and I honor you in your process and your journey and just sending many blessings your way because I know it ain't easy. And I'm just so grateful for all of you who've reached out over the years with comments and DMs and emails. And for those that have become clients, thank you for tuning into my story, for sharing with me, for sending you so much love. So I call it my Xanniversary because on November 14th, 2015 was the date that I took Xanax for the last time. And Xanax, for those who don't know, is a prescribed benzodiazepine medication that deeply affected my health, my relationships, my career, and my life for nearly 20 years now. And I'll share a little quick recap of my story. If you've seen the other videos, I go more in depth on my story there. I'm just going to share a little bit now in case you're new here. So I was on Xanax and antidepressants for over a decade. I was prescribed them for panic disorder at 17 years old, and I abruptly stopped taking Xanax 9 years ago today out of desperation and lack of knowledge about the potential adverse effects. And like I said earlier, my health, my relationships, my career, my life just absolutely crumbled, all of it. From the time I stopped taking the Xanax, I went on a fucking roller coaster ride of severe symptoms and pain and terror that quite literally took me to hell and back. And I experienced symptoms like insomnia, psychosis, hallucinations, blackouts, excruciating nerve pain on the left side of my body from the top of my head and my brain, through my eye, through my jaw, into my shoulder and my neck and my heart. Suicidal ideation, brain damage, hypersensitivity to light, sound, touch, like everything, and a feeling of nonstop terror 24/7, fear and darkness, and a lot more. The whole ordeal, if you're going through it, I know you can relate to this just onslaught of symptoms. The compounding symptoms were so severe and excruciating that it felt like absolutely unsurvivable and completely inhumane. It was a very slow road to recovery. I experienced protracted withdrawal, and now here I am 9 years later, and I can finally, finally say I feel completely on the other side of it. And I'm finally bearing the fruit of all of the labor and love that I poured into my healing these last 9 years. And at this point, I'm truly so grateful for all of it, like every single part of it, the challenges, the lessons, all of it. A quick note, do not compare your timeline to mine. Please, please do not do this. A lot of people gawk at and get completely disheartened to hear that it took me 9 fucking years to finally feel completely recovered. Everyone is different, every body is different, and everyone's path is totally unique. It took me as long as it took me, and I've truly made peace with that. And now I can really look back at all of the mistakes and missteps, if you want to call it that, that I made along the way that likely prolonged my process. And that is why I share what I've learned and why I'm currently creating more resources for this community because I don't want it to take you as long as it took me. So if there's anything I could do to support or fast forward your process, that's why I'm still sharing. I sincerely hope no one's recovery takes as long as mine did, but this is where I'm at and I'm celebrating nonetheless. So I get a lot of questions about symptoms and how long they lasted and how severe they were for how long they lasted. And I'll just say the symptoms gradually disappeared over time, some after 2 years, some after three, some after 4 or 5, or even 7. The symptoms that were still somewhat debilitating at year 5 for me, which was 4 years ago, and they were like mildly bothersome at year 7 2 years ago, are now totally gone. And I feel like I've fully reclaimed my life. And I'll list the symptoms that I mentioned in my year 7 video and update you on where they stand now. So the nerve pain was still a trace at year 7, and now it's gone. Food sensitivities, gone for the most part, besides a few items, but I've really fully adapted to eating clean, and I just prefer to stick to this way of eating because it feels good overall. Cognitive decline, brain damage. I feel like my brain has fully recovered. I feel bright and sharp and clear and full of vitality now. Emotional stability. I'm even more emotionally grounded and stable than I was at year 7, which I said I'm emotionally grounded and stable in that video, but I've deepened into that even more than ever in my life, and I don't experience any really extreme swings or waves. I'm pretty even keel, and even when I feel intense emotions, I feel absolutely stable and able to handle them, which I feel incredibly grateful for. The financial strains, like I said in my year 7 video, I had to use all of the money I made and saved in my 20s to pay off my health debt, essentially, in my 30s. And my journey perfectly mirrored that Dalai Lama quote when asked what surprised him, the Dalai Lama, most about humanity. He said, man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money, then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And that quote really, really hit home for me. I was like, wow, I already learned that lesson by 30 years old, albeit the hard way. This experience really put my priorities in place. That said, after spending $100,000+ on treatments and just trying to survive and relaunching my business Renaissance Woman a couple years ago at a very deliberately slow pace, I'm still working my way up the financial ladder. Unfortunately, I'm debt-free, and my business has recently been taking off, and I feel excited and confident and clear to keep putting my gifts out into the world. And I've set a really strong foundation for my business and intentionally building it slowly. And I'm starting to see the fruits being bared. And I'm really excited and really grateful for that. And I also want to say that these symptoms will like flare up a little bit if I don't manage my stress levels or if I don't follow the rhythms of my body. Like if I don't listen to the call of what I call the red zone, when my body's reaching the red zone, it's saying you're pushing up against the limit and you're about to go over the limit of stress or exhaustion or whatever it is I'm doing, like sitting on my computer too long or pushing my body on a hike too long, or just being too outward and doing too much. When my body is signaling that it's time to pull back, if I go over that edge that I call the red zone, then my body will respond. And I might get a little flare up of nerve pain or a little bit of brain fog. And it's nothing compared to what it used to be. But this is a big lesson I learned in this process. I've mastered the art of not having to bounce back anymore. And I know when I'm at the edge. And now I have the patience and the discipline and the self-awareness and respect for myself and my body and my energy to pull back when I need to pull back, even if my mind's like, but I want this project done now. I must go faster, or I want to be further along. I've really learned to master the art of not having to bounce back, because that was constantly what I would do. Burn out, bounce back, burn out, bounce back, even with my healing journey. So this was one of the hardest energetics, I would say, to master. One I often help people with because I feel like a lot of the underlying energetics are just as important as the tangible to-dos for withdrawal. Your nutrition and getting exercise and all those things are the tangible to-dos, and they're important, but without these kind of like underlying energetic patterns that are still circulating and maybe controlling you and pushing you past your limits and not allowing your body to heal, these are just as important as the to-dos. So this is just one that I wanted to mention in regards to symptoms and potential flare-ups that I don't really see anymore. Some more good stuff to mention. I feel clearer and more grounded in both my body and my mind than ever before. My sense of stability and rootedness has deepened profoundly, and I have a sharper vision of my life's direction and purpose. I'm more confident in who I am, and above all, I feel so deliciously grateful for the ability to feel emotion, to feel sensation, to feel pleasure, to feel love, to feel grief, to feel anger, all of the things. I am someone who wants to feel my life while I'm living it, to savor it, to feel my aliveness and my life force and that pulse of Eros, and to have the capacity to witness beauty and be deeply touched by it from the very core of my being and the depths of my heart. Like, it's such a blessing and part of the human experience to feel. And so many of us have been robbed of this by believing that it's best to numb ourselves with a pill so that we can get on with life and keep up with the Jones, or to cure our incurable mental illnesses or chemical imbalances, which I think is total bullshit, but that's for another video. For myself, I was numbed out for over a decade in my formative years, and though I have no regrets, I remain grateful for my humanness and for the opportunity to have witnessed my own strength and the strength of the human spirit and that incredible capacity that we have to survive what may seem unsurvivable. I was truly hanging on by like the weakest strand of hair for years in the beginning of my journey. I would call my poor mother every morning, hanging over the side of my bed, feeling beaten down and exhausted by another night of insomnia and terrifying thoughts and visions and shitty symptoms. And I would literally ask her for permission to let me take my life because I just couldn't bear the pain and the suffering and the struggle anymore. It was that vast. And it was really the love of my mother that kept me alive, to be honest, because even though I didn't want to be here anymore, I loved my mother so much and she loved me so much that I couldn't do that to her. So I really hung on for her. And that is another thing I am profoundly grateful for, the support that I had, and specifically my mother my angel, my rock. Um, and for love, like love is really the strongest force on this planet, truly. And that was a really good example of that for me. And again, to just have experienced the strength of the human spirit, the depths that we can go to, and how love can really keep us alive. So I'm grateful to live. I feel just more nourished and like on the edge of thriving now in my life. This is such a celebration for me, a hard won and delicious victory that I'm like savoring every single day and in such gratitude for this journey. And I know those who have been on this journey, you probably, like me, couldn't even ever understand or comprehend this level of pain and suffering that is just absolutely inhumane and induced by a chemical that should not be in our bodies, that our human bodies do not know how to process. So, again, aho to you, celebrating you, honoring you and your journey. And with that, my pharma withdrawal warriors know that it does get better. You can do this. This too shall pass, as cliche as that is. This has been one of the most challenging, yet most rewarding and beautiful journeys I've ever been on. Touching the depths of hell really does something to you. It refines your spirit, it strengthens your resilience and your fortitude. And this journey ultimately led me back home to myself, to my truest path and my purpose and my mission in the world that is birthing through Renaissance woman. It has given me humility and the ability to meet challenge with open arms and open mind and graciousness. And again, I'm just truly 1,000% grateful for every single part of the journey. I see beauty in all of it in hindsight now. So if you can't see it now, I hope you can witness me and my celebration and the lessons I've learned through all of that challenge, that there was beauty and purpose in all of it. And that is why it is now part of my mission to help more people get off of pharmaceutical meds. I firmly believe that it's for the best for people to transition off of medications like benzos or antidepressants that, in my experience, inhibit the expansion of consciousness. These medications, again, in my opinion, do not align with the future direction of humanity. I understand that they have their benefit for certain life-threatening situations, very short-term use, but they really shouldn't even be used for longer than 2 weeks. And we know that's not happening. But I feel like so many people are waking up right now, spiritually speaking. They're becoming aware of the corruption in big pharma, big ag, the government, all the things. People getting fed up with the systems of control and the lack of genuine care for humanity and what essentially amounts to poisoning us through these pills and chemical spraying, etc. I feel like there's more people saying, no more. I will not partake in this anymore. I won't let you shove any more pills down my throat. And another pill is not the answer because that pill is making me sick and becoming like a drugged out zombie. A lot of people are waking up and saying no more. Yet the caveat when it comes to benzos is it's not that easy to just wake up and say, I'm stopping this medication, whether you've been on it for 2 weeks or 20 years. It can be incredibly difficult and dangerous. The process isn't always easy for everyone. For some, it's fine. I've been receiving for years now hundreds of messages based on my videos, and I've really noticed an uptick in the last couple of years of people just wanting to get off these meds, but I can feel the deep suffering and desperation for help and answers and support. And it really disheartens me that they still can't seem to find it, and that the doctors are still prescribing these at the rates that they are. Even though I do believe there is more support now than ever, it's still not enough, in my opinion. Not even close, but it's far more than when I first came off of medications in 2015. So that's why it's part of my mission to keep telling my story, even 9 years later. And for me, it's not about raging against the pharma machine. It's let's build something new and better. Let's not use up all of our energy to burn big pharma down, hold people accountable. Yes, but we should empower each other and educate each other and help each other to release our dependency on a pill or a system that doesn't seem to have our best interest in mind, in my opinion. And I believe we can create a new paradigm of health and wellness that is rooted in holistic practices and community support and personal empowerment. And I really believe in sharing our stories, our knowledge, and our experiences. And we can really inspire and guide each other towards a more natural and sustainable approach to mental and emotional well-being that doesn't leave us dependent on a pill and almost dying trying to come off of it. So, this is my attempt at contributing to that vision and sharing. And you can tune into my YouTube channel called Benzo Stories, where I share more short form stories on my journey. And be sure to stay tuned for more. I've been creating something specifically for this community based on all the lessons I've learned over the last 9 years. And I've really been intentional about keeping it simple and practical and efficient. My goal is to inspire and support you on your journey, to feel like the supportive friend who gets it because you're not alone. I know it's not easy. I know the pain and the suffering and the struggle and the desperation for answers and for healing. And I hope that what I'm creating can bring you a little bit more hope or healing. I'm just celebrating today, 9 years, celebrating today and every day, honestly, because let me tell you, health is the ultimate wealth. Thank you for celebrating with me and following along on my journey. I appreciate every single one of you from the bottom of my heart. Like, seriously, all of your messages, your emails, the DMs, the comments, it means so much to me. And I really feel you. And I hope to, yeah, keep creating things that bring you more hope. I'd like to conclude with a quote from a follower who commented on one of my benzo posts. May pharma corruption end and may all the harmed heal. Thank you, thank you, thank you.